Thank you for the shares. Okay. I even turned the phone signal off, and I've got a very glitchy screen on this end. So I hope that oh, you guys can see me. I see some heart. It looks like it's flowing now. So anyway, it's colder out here than I thought. Good morning. So, I didn't do a book today. I just didn't think I had the mental energy to deal with the Tao. Okay. Today's verse I looked at and I was like, yep, that's going to require some thought. Plus, I've had a lot going on this morning that I just wanted to share that with you instead of a book discussion today. So if you drop by to hear the Tao Te Ching and Byron Katie today, you might want to come back in a couple of days. Because we're going to talk about other things today. What I wanted to talk to you about is Byron Katie-ish. Yeah, it's like 50 degrees. I need to switch to the other side of the house where there's sun. It's warmer, but anyway, I wanted to be outside. So, we're still like Byron Katie focused because core desired feeling work and desire mapping work is still requires you to deconstruct your stories about life. By the way, if you're new, my name's Michelle Wolf, and you can find all the stuff that I do at caddyshackdesigns.com. Check and done. So here's what happens, and the reason I use Young Living essential oils in my Desire Map workshops is because they have an emotional impact. They have a physical impact too, but they have a pretty powerful emotional impact if you're using the emotional blends. So when I started doing Desire Map workshops in 2014 was when I first started advertising, but I didn't start actually getting interest until 2015. But I always included Young Living oils in them because I found them so powerful in my own personal growth, trying to overcome like limitations and things that were areas of my life that were not working the way I would like them to. So we've talked a lot about how you set an intention. You can call that a core desired feeling if you're doing desire map work. That's the framework that I use most often these days. It's nothing new. It's just a convenient way to talk about it. But you can call it setting an intention or a goal, whatever word you want to put on it is fine. But you set a goal or you decide, I want to feel a particular something. And we've talked about how all your stories about that subject matter, get blasted in your face. Which is why I put like the megaphone thing on the title today, because it's super loud. It'll get really loud and you'll feel like giving up, and all the reasons that you don't feel that way have to come into your awareness. Otherwise, you can't change your story about them. Yeah, if you don't know what your story is, you can't change it. You can't do anything about it. So I have right now going on a desire map workshop for people who are doing the business of Young Living. And Michelle Lee said the other night, and made a good point, that when you go in and you pick an emotional blend, you're already, by the act of putting it in your shopping cart, creating that process. You're setting that intention. You've been thinking about it. We're going to talk about finance today. So you've been thinking about financial change, and you see an oil blend related to finance. And so you're like, okay, I think that can help me. So I'm going to put it in my shopping cart, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to start using it. So already you're activating the energy of reaching for this new state that you don't currently feel. A lot of people confuse finding the feeling tone as you find the feeling tone or the feeling place or the core desired feeling, and then you magically end up with that. But there's the in-between part of taking apart the reasons that you struggle to feel that way to maintain that feeling. So for me, I got, I've spent a lot of time doing this work, and I've spent a lot of time doing my own spiritual work. And solidifying a daily practice over the last year. July 1st will be a full year that I've done something every single day without fail. I've never maintained that kind of consistency before in my life. It's exhausting. And it's brought up, so much stuff for me to look at, and I journal pretty much every day. I write my cortisol feelings every day without fail. So, of course, I'm triggering lots of stories. Ouch, that's hot. Whoa, look at this. You see that? That's the pollen that's killing us down here. Oh, and I just rubbed it on my finger because I'm smart like that. So, recently I was like, okay, I can pretty well swing most areas of my life. But this finance thing is still kicking my ass, and I am pretty frustrated with it, and I'm really ready, and I have the time. I want to deal with this. I want to deliberately find out, expose, put these processes in place to deliberately trigger all my stories so I can see them and figure out what's going on in the area of finance. So you can apply this to the area of love. You can apply it to the area of career. Right. Yeah, you can apply it to, so as we go along, good morning, you can apply this to your own personal situation. So what I did is I bought finance and forgiveness. I wasn't too super sure about forgiveness, but I am pretty hard on myself, so I figured it wasn't a bad one to throw in there. I need to forgive myself for financial mistakes. I was conscious of that I was judging myself still for financial mistakes and not really taking the time to learn about finance, just kind of being like, it's too complicated, I don't want to learn about it. But then in not taking responsibility to learn about it, oh, me too. I've damaged myself. I've damaged my finances. And part of that is story driven, and part of that is just not wanting to be bothered with learning something that's hard. Learning comes very easily to me. I'm spoiled that way. So when I run across a subject that's difficult for me, I have to really focus and actually apply myself. And I'm not skilled at it because just so happens that academic stuff and learning stuff comes easy for me. So in a way, I haven't developed really good study skills because I usually don't have to bother. There's plenty of other areas that kick my butt, but that's not one of them. So here's how it looks. Oh, and I forgot to show you the truth bomb for today. First, attend to the divine. And that's why I'm a little bit later today, because I needed to attend to a divine conversation where the divine was speaking to me through other people, and where I was getting lots of connections were being made this morning. So if you've got something going on, first start here with your connection to the divine, whatever you want to call it, or your daily practice. And if it's rolling, I don't care if you have to be late to work or miss an appointment. You stick with that process. Don't be crazy and cut it off. That can be an ego trick too, to stop you and say, oh, well, you're going to be late to work. Well, they're probably not going to fire you. It's probably more important that you stick with the process. Good morning. And if they do fire you, so what? Don't be crazy. Don't ask for this stuff and then hatchet it off when it starts. So I made you a handy dandy little chart. I made me a handy little chart. So let me see if there's anything. I have some notes here. Okay, yeah. So follow along with me. I don't have my thoughts completely organized, so I'm just going to ramble. Oh, good. I'm just going to ramble along here, and I'm trusting that you guys can figure it out, because you're smart like that. And you're probably used to my rambling processes by now anyway. So let's just roll with this and see where we go. You can always watch the replay if you do have to go to work. And you can always DM me or PM me or message me or whatever. If you have questions or need clarification, I'm totally fine with that. So here's our chart for today. You set, and we've talked about this before, I just wanted to put it in a visual format. You set your cortisol feelings. So I'm going to use myself as an example. As we're going through, find an example in your own life, and let's have morning coaching. Uh-oh. My cat is all fluffy and big. There must be something in the yard. Oh well, I'm up here. It can't get me, whatever it is. And Sasquatch doesn't come out in the day. Everybody knows that. Cortisol feeling. So for me, it was finance related. A few months ago, like 3 months ago, I added overflowing abundance. By overflowing abundance as a cortisol feeling, what I mean is there's so much that it can be overflowed to other people. Like all my stuff's taken care of, all my wants and needs are taken care of, my family's taken care of, all these freaking animals are taken care of, and there's still more. Like it's just flowing and flowing and flowing. I haven't experienced that. So, hi Amy. So that's a cortisol feeling that I consciously chose, knowing that I didn't really know what that feels like. And knowing, because I'm a little masochistic, that it was going to bring up lots of stories and pain and emotions and stuff, yada yada. But it's, it's the only way I know how to do it at this point. Maybe there's a different way, but I don't know what it is. So, I picked overflowing abundance as my cortisol feeling a few months ago. Then I buy finance and forgiveness. Brave and possibly also crazy. But thank you. I picked the words, I picked the feeling, what I imagined that would feel like. Then I picked a couple of oils to go with it. So I'm triggering the process in this, right? Then I start writing it every day. I start writing in my day planner thing, my desire map planner, of course. I write divine ease, which is my cortisol feeling, and then I added overflowing abundance. This is the activation daily, the daily activation of your cortisol feeling, however you want to do that. Before I get too far into the day, I write those two words, I write those two cortisol feelings, and I spend a few moments just generating that feeling. Because I don't usually feel that way when I wake up. So I have to, this is where the work is. You have to consciously activate that feeling in yourself. So, in very much detail, probably more than you need, my daily process is to flip open my planner, write those two words, notice how I'm feeling, accept it, I don't judge it, and then I just reach for the feeling of those two cortisol feelings. Okay, so that's my daily activation of what I've said and I'm writing that I want. So then what happens is the awareness of the clutter between me and this, that's where the stories are getting activated. I'm starting to feel like crap. Things are starting to trigger me that don't normally trigger me. It's as if a veil drops down over everything, and all I can see is the problems. All I can hear in my head is old storylines of not deserving, or this is garbage, or it's never going to get me better, or I'm so tired of trying, and blah, blah, blah. And that would be, in Byron Katie terms, the time to do a worksheet. Because it's fighting the reality of what is. So even as you're reaching for a different reality, you have to work and accept the reality of what is. Does this make any sense so far? So you do a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, or you keep activating this cortisol feeling. This is all part of the process. It's all happening a lot at the same time. I'm trying to make it a visual for you so you can understand why your life goes to shit when you pick a new path. When you pick a new cortisol feeling, or you pick an issue to work on with Byron Katie stuff, everything goes to hell, and it's supposed to. It has to. Otherwise you're never going to get all the way back over where you're living this. Okay? It's never going to work until you do. Let's all go to hell. Tell somebody to go to hell, and you can mean it in a good way. This is the sucky part, okay? This awareness, this insight time, Bernice washes dogs, and in that meditative state, she gets epiphanies. If you don't hear your stories, you can't change them. And you won't hear your stories until you start reaching for what you want, what you desire. Okay, so You become aware of the clutter. You become aware of the times in your life where you picked up these beliefs, like from your family, from events where someone shamed you. Oh, good. Where someone or the culture itself shamed you for your financial status, for your socioeconomic status. In our culture, it's really shameful to be poor. It's seen in our culture as a moral failing rather than a circumstantial series of events or where you happen to live or your level of education, etc. It's seen as like you're a bad person if you're poor. So there's lots of shame attached to that. And you pick up a lot of that if you grow up poor. If you're a kid and you're poor, you pick up a lot of that gets dragged around. So the awareness of the clutter, and this is the clutter box right here, can be a combination of events, emotions, like shame, fear, your beliefs about this cortisol feeling. Is it bad to be overflowing and abundant? If you're overflowing abundance, are you bad because now you're rich and rich might be bad? So it's all this stuff. Traumatic events where a teacher or a coach or your peer group or somebody shamed you and created a trauma, or you had traumatic events and didn't have the money to fix them and that created a tangle of shame and trauma. It can be all this stuff. And again, this can be anything. Love, money, work, whatever. So cultural stuff, etc. This is all the story stuff. This is all the stuff that's keeping you from feeling this all the time. That's making it hard for you to manifest this state of existence in your life. So it's all the stuff in between, the clutter, the story that has to be deconstructed so that you can begin accepting and allowing. This is the awareness. What happened? What's in between? Then there has to come acceptance and allowing of all of this. You don't fight the reality. These things happen to you. These things are your beliefs. And it's okay. And you're going to do something about it. You accept that it happened. You stop judging yourself for whatever your part was, if any. You see what I'm saying? Like, you accept it. This is Byron Katie stuff. You don't fight the reality of it. These things exist. They're keeping you from feeling that. And this is the process of getting there. So in this accepting and allowing state is where your daily practice can be critical. Because you will hopefully be developing or have developed the ability to observe your stories as being separate from who you really are, the truth of who you really are at the core, which is an abundant person. Yes, most people struggle with this part. So a lot of people struggle getting the awareness, so that's part of it. Then you get here, and then you may hit another struggle at the acceptance of it. Because we want to fight this, right? We want to just say, here's the word I hate the most. Just stop being a victim. Just stop acting like a victim. Well, you can't do that until you do this. Because what we resist persists, right? Okay, if we judge ourselves for having the part of us that's a victim, that wants somebody else to come and fix all this for us, that wants to lay down and give up and cry all day, that wants to just give in to the darkness and the madness, we can't just flip a switch and turn all that off. So to tell someone that, in my mind, is cruel. It's cruel and it's harsh and it's really not productive at all. So if you're telling yourself that, stop it. Stop it right now today. Just knock it off. It is painful. It's painful and it requires a lot of courage to stay with the process. Because the last couple of weeks, so again, using myself as an example, these awarenesses started coming up, and they have every day, which ironically enough, when we all talked about last week about going 7 days without thinking about our issue, by not thinking about it, these awarenesses started coming up even faster. So I was not thinking about it, and yet all the issues related to it were coming up because I'd given it the space to. So I was not thinking about it but also processing everything about money this week. So, okay. So all this garbage starts coming up. All this victim-y stuff starts coming up. Doing without doing. Yes, you're allowing your stories to be revealed to you. You're making space for this awareness to come up. Okay, you're giving it the space. Here's the chart. And we're going to go all through it, but if you want to screenshot it, you can. Okay? So, this is the part where typically I want to give up. You gave up thinking about your ex and received a new student with his name. And what was your emotional reaction to it? To the name? Was it easier? It will get easier. This is where I want to give up. This is where I want to throw in the towel. Cool. This is where I'm like, screw it. I get hopeless. I don't want to do anything. I overwork so that I can't feel. And then I end up having emotional explosions because I've been suppressing it. This is the really hard part for me personally. I just want to quit. I was like, fuck it. I get real bad fuckets here. Then when I can move inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, nanosecond by picosecond over to this, to the acceptance of it, then a lot of expression starts to happen, okay? That's where you move into the action phase. It's in your head, you're aware of it, it starts to come down into your heart, you start to allow it. As soon as you start allowing it, you can move into the action phase. And you wait for inspired action. You express this however you feel inspired to. These are just some options. You can do tapping, EFT. I love Brad Yates, but Melanie Bundock on Periscope does a lot of tapping. You want to shove it aside and always hope it won't rear its ugly head. And it always does, and then it has two. It's like a hydra. You strangle one head and it pops out 5 more. Or the dog, or... Is it a hydra that does that? Am I using the right word? Sometimes I get my myths confused. My friend Christy would say that's a detail. And the older I get, the less details matter. Yeah, a hydra. It doesn't matter so much to me, the details, because I don't care if I'm wrong. Because you know what I know? Somebody will correct me. Okay, so then you move into here. You're aware of it. You're aware of this garbage and it hurts and it's painful. And you're working really hard to accept it and allow it. Then you go into the action phase and you choose to move it through. This required, I should have put breathing right here at the top. I should have put breathing right here. But you need to do a lot of breathing right here too, so that you can accept. This is very difficult on Periscope. So, breathing is key, is critical. A lot of times just breathing through this stuff, something so basic, something so simple, something that we are inherently built to do, but our mind will shut it off. Because we get scared, we start to shallow breathe, then that whole biological process of brain moving to the back of the head and we forget, we don't think, because it's all back here in survival mode. So, okay. Breathing. You can do EFT. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Emotional Freedom Techniques. Go with Gary Craig. Gary Craig, Brad Yates. They're the two that I trust the most. But, go with whoever you freaking feel like. The emotional expression is happening here. This is the action. This is the stuff. Yes, EFT on YouTube with Brad Yates. He has a script for everything. Go on YouTube, put in Brad Yates, and he has EFT tapping scripts that are available to you 24/7 for free. For free. You can do EFT. You have to express the emotions. This was when a lot of crying can happen. So you're aware of it. You've accepted that it happened. You've accepted that it exists and it's still tripping you up. And you're ready to take action on it by crying or raging or, perfect. Yeah, Brad Yates is awesome. He really is a great resource. By talking, talking it over with your friends, by journaling, by doing some artwork, by moving your butt, get your butt in gear, do some dancing, do some swaying. Let your body move. And do it if you need to by yourself, because your body can do some really weird contorting things. It kind of looks like you're having a seizure if it's like big and deep. When I was doing EMDR trauma work, by cycling, walking. Hi, Angela. You're definitely going to want to watch this replay from the beginning, Angela. This is right up your alley. So, Koya dancing, tap dancing. Erin, where's Erin? Oh, she's on vacation in Colorado. You've got to move. This is where all of this starts to express, yoga, swimming, movement. It has to come through the body. This can't be resolved up here. It won't happen. You may think you've resolved it up here, but if you haven't, weird. If you haven't brought that expression down through your physical body, yes, exactly. You are not complete. You've kept it in your head. You've kept it intellectual. That is the thing that smart people do. Smart people can really work against themselves in these processes because we think it can be handled up here. Yeah, of course, right? I get like this massive insight, and it may be difficult to express it in the world at the moment. So it's pretty fresh. I mean, this process is not fresh. This is not new at all. But my expression of it and my verbalizing of it is just happened right before I signed on and when I made this chart. So it may be hard to get it out in the world at the moment. Singing in the car can be very powerful because you're extra oxygenating your blood. Other people's comments coming through from other scopes. What the fuck? Get the hell off my scope, bitches. Okay. What the hell is that about? Oh, that is so weird. Well, here's what I'm gonna... Yeah, this is different. The other chart had to do with the process of putting your product out in the world. This is backing up a step and going through what you may have to go through before you can even come up with a product to put out in the world. So this is like way back from last week's chart or a couple of weeks ago chart. What? That's insane. That's really weird. Well, we may do this again. I'll maybe wait a week and revisit this, and possibly my thoughts may be more in line. No, I'm not seeing anything. I was having trouble getting on here, but I'm not seeing any weird comments or anything. Huh. Oh well, I suppose whoever needs to hear it will hear it. And we'll do it again too. And I'll put this in the Facebook group. Oh, that was Tanya. She was talking about tying one on today. She was like, let's all get drunk. Let's go get loaded. Let's drink and drive. Don't ever do that. Tanya was like, I need a beer. It's 11 in the morning and I need a freaking shot of vodka. Can somebody get me a gin and tonic? Bartender! Barkeep! We need to booze it up. This shit's hard. I'll take a mimosa. Right. So, this is desire mapping process. Yeah, make it a double. This is deconstructing story process on paper. what happens is people want to quit right here. That is the worst time to give up, and I've done it hundreds of times. I've hit this point and been like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to stick my head in the sand. I'm going to go binge on Orange is the New Black, or my latest obsession is Doc Martin on Netflix. I'm going to go tune out and check out and give up. I'm not giving up, but I've done it in the past. And this is where clients will typically drop off. If you're working with someone individually, they will tend to drop off right here. Yeah, I love that series, Doc Martin. If you guys are fans of British television, Doc Martin, DOC, is on Netflix, and it's excellent. This is where quitting happens. This is where it hurts so much. Being a bag lady is not so bad. I was thinking the other day, people who go in and out of prison probably have good reason to do it, because if you think about it, if you don't mind being confined, it's not so bad. You get to read. This happened. My husband and I had this discussion when we were watching Orange is the New Black. We're re-watching season 1 since season 3 is coming out in June. So we were like, if you didn't mind not having your freedom and you liked being social, you could sit around and talk all day and read books, get degrees, 3 hots in a cot. You can see why some people make prison their career, and they get out and they go right back because it's super familiar and it's easy. You don't have any responsibility. So yeah, given bag lady or prison, I'd probably choose prison, because at least you're out of the weather. You don't get lice. Random dogs don't bite you. Rats. Homeless people get rat bites. Let's not do that. You're indoors. You get to lift weights. You get to watch TV. Yeah, a bag lady existence is going to be cold. I don't like to be cold. You can eat crappy food because they feed you like high carb garbage, and carbs are wonderful. Okay. Here's some notes I had. This is based on a little video clip I saw last night. It's just a rewording of it. So I think it's Wallace Wattles, Wattles. You can Google him. You can find his books for free. Yeah. So we have an evolutionary urge for more life. We innately seek growth because all things on this planet that are alive are compelled to grow. Plants, animals, we seek growth. However, people call it your comfort zone. I call it, my professor used to call it your familiar bad feeling. So even though a poverty and impoverished existence is horrible, it is familiar. And we're programmed to stay in the familiar because we know it. We know we can handle it. We know we can survive it. And we highly resist moving into overflowing abundance because it's really unfamiliar. Oh, yeah. Then when you get on the other side, it's so awesome. The process of getting through that process can be very challenging. But recognizing that it's just, a lot of the resistance is just that it's unfamiliar. You can coach yourself through that because you've done unfamiliar things before already. Lots of times. You've started new jobs that were unfamiliar. You've moved to new places that were unfamiliar. You've gone through making the unfamiliar familiar hundreds of times, which means that you can draw on that experience of how you did it, how it felt, the Young Living business, starting any kind of entrepreneurial effort. You can do this. You have done it. So think about times that you've gone through learning something highly unfamiliar, and how good you felt when you had learned it and it had become familiar. And then apply that to whatever core desired feeling you've picked that's now activating this process. You see what I'm saying? It's just your brain is designed to maintain homeostasis. It's designed to hold the status quo. It's designed to maintain a certain level of a happiness threshold. And when you push past it, this happens and has to be dealt with. So that you can come back up here and start to live this instead of just feeling it. It helps it is the only way that I know of to make your reality match your new story. Okay? Yeah, and then you can party. Your reality matches your story. Always, always, always. And the process of deconstructing your story and rewriting it is found right here. And it's ugly, and you're going to want to give up, and you're going to feel helpless, and you're going to fall into your victim mode, and you're going to blame everybody under the sun, and you're going to whine and moan and eat too much and possibly drink gin and tonics at 10 in the morning. Just don't stay there. Okay? Just keep moving. This is an active, dynamic process, and the oils help that. They have an energetic frequency that supports all of this. They push it on through faster. I know it because I've done this without these, and doing them with them is more intense, yet faster. And when I come out on the other side, it's much more resolved. That's my recommendation to you. That's what's working for me. It's not going to work for everybody. I can only share what's working for me, and you can try it, and if it works for you, awesome. So, you have to involve the body. That's another piece that's been left out, and that is a piece I believe the oils pull in. When we breathe in oils, we are inhaling the chemicals. They have a chemistry. They activate areas of our brain in the limbic system. They activate memory. They activate physical processes. Anything you can do to involve the body. Your body is a receiver, a transmitter. It does what you tell it to do with faithful consistency and compliance. Wheel up and let's do this. Yes. Goodbye, Linda. Have a great day at work. By involving the body and taking this out of just a purely intellectual process through engaging feelings, emotions, and moving your body, you complete a holistic system of change. That's a holistic system of change. And then the other piece is recognizing that you are an extension of source energy. Your body, your mind, your experiences in this world or an extension of the whole. We are rays of sunlight. We are part of the sun itself. We're an extension of that. And we can't express that energy of the sun through our little ray of sunlight if we're not in alignment with all of these things. We can't chop ourselves up into bits, and that's what we do. We carve ourselves up into little chunks and shove all the pieces into little boxes and put them in. The mental image I have is of an apothecary chest where I've got this memory in that box and this emotion in that box and this person in that box, and it doesn't work that way. It's a big bowl of Jell-O. It's all one thing. And you can't chop yourself up. So that's the process of unchopping. So what? Yes, clary sage, C-L-A-R-Y, sage. Young Living makes a blend called Dragon Thyme, which is hilarious. Dragon Thyme is a good one. Clary sage is a single oil. Dragon Thyme is a blend. They're both extremely powerful. You can also use stress away, anything to calm anxiety, lavender. Lavender has regulating properties as well. Progescence Plus. I don't know if that's Susan's age. think Susan, aren't you fairly young? But that's a good one for more like perimenopausal stuff, I think. I don't really know. I don't know if Juliana's still here, but I think she was using clary sage. But doesn't it have progesterone in it? So that's something you need to educate yourself about. Does it have things that trigger hormonal changes? Oh, okay. Yeah, are you still using clary sage? Juliana uses doTERRA. You don't have to cycle it. If you're imbalanced, it helps. Yeah, and I just got clary sage for myself for my vision, because it's also good for vision. But yeah, Susan, there's tons of options out there. Tons. I hesitate to, yeah. I always suggest that you get a hormone panel done before. At some point, if you're having those kinds of problems, you want to get a hormone panel done. Go check out Maria Claps. She's at Coach Claps, CLAPS. She has a catch channel. She has a catch page. She talks a lot about hormones and hormones helpers and nutritional things you can do, and there's plenty of oil things you can do. Yeah. So, how this has come up for me lately, and that you may read, Maria Claps. Her handle is at that little at symbol, Coach Claps, CLAPS. Listen to a lot of her work. She's great, really great. I like her a lot. So, poverty's more familiar than wealth. So I picked a core-desired feeling that's very unfamiliar. Overflowing abundance is very unfamiliar. Extreme poverty is very familiar. I'm comfortable with it. I know how to do it. I don't like it. It's miserable, but it's familiar. It's my familiar bad feeling. It's a familiar bad state of existence. So I know I can survive it. The less evolved parts of me don't know that I can survive wealth. Get me some wealth. Because it's unfamiliar to me. I don't know it. So I need to go back in time and find all the unfamiliar things I've done, which are plenty, and coach myself into believing that I can apply those same experiences in the area of finance. I picked up everything and all my dogs, and I moved to a state where I knew no one. Entirely unfamiliar, and it was super scary, and it was super awesome. It was had parts of it that were completely terrible, and I only stayed out of Colorado for like 4 or 5 months. But it was completely unfamiliar, and I did it anyway. I learned how to pack my stuff up and walk out into the mountain wilderness and stay there for days by myself. That was completely terrifying and totally unfamiliar, and yet I still did it. I can do the same here. The safety of poverty is familiar. Wealth is unfamiliar and scary. But I can find the same skills I used in the past and apply them now. When you think of it in those terms, suddenly it's not so scary. Suddenly it's not so unfamiliar because you've done unfamiliar things before. So then you're like, oh, why just do what I did before? I've done this before. So I just do the same thing. So then your brain goes, oh, this process of making the unfamiliar familiar is not unfamiliar. Does that make sense? You've done it before. Then your body goes, oh, we know how to do this. We got this. We've done it 100 times. This is nothing. So then what happens? Your body just relaxes and goes, oh yeah, we know how to go through. We know how to learn new stuff. We pray a lot. We practice. We get educated. We watch shows about overflowing abundance and work with the jealousy that comes up. Or work with the yeah buts that come up. It's only unfamiliar for a little while. You've done this before. Those of you who are parents really went from the unfamiliar, from the familiar to the unfamiliar, because parenting, as you know, is a complete toss in the deep end of the pool. And yet you did it. So it's not so scary. Your mind freaks out and makes a big deal out of it, and it's your responsibility to get yourself through these processes by remembering where you've done it before, by asking how you can see this differently, how you can see your situation differently. Amen, sister. So, this is what happens in abused children. They will stay with their abuser and fight you to get back to them, because it's the only thing they know. And the process of taking children out of abusive situations and putting them in happy homes, they go through a rough time because they don't know happy. Happy's unfamiliar. They don't know 3 meals a day. They don't know parents that don't hit. They don't know what that's like. If you're dealing with an 8, 9, or 10-year-old, you've got a lot of work to do. And God bless foster parents, because I don't have the patience to do it. And didn't, and probably never will. But we're like little kids that way. We start to approach unfamiliar, and we're like, whoa, hold on. Being poor might be preferable to going over there in that scary, weird place. Okay? So it feels very strange. So I did a lot of EFT this morning on myself for lots of shame, poverty shame, from growing up in, our culture really shames the hell out of you for being poor. So lots of that, lots of emotional expression this morning. The point I would like to get to is that wealth. So Byron Katie has you do all this work, and have you look forward to feeling what you felt again, so that you know you don't have attachments to it anymore. So ideally, the thought of poverty would carry the same emotional charge as the thought of wealth, which is to say no emotional charge. No negative emotional charge on either one. Poverty and wealth, good and bad, light and dark, fat and skinny, it should all have the same weight, which is none. Although you can't really apply that to the fat and skinny metaphor, but you know what I mean. So it wasn't until this morning that I got clear about what's been happening over the last week since I got my oil, and I decided for 7 days I wasn't going to obsess on this topic, and then everything about this topic started coming up. So then this morning I was like, oh yeah, it's that thing. It's that thing that happens every time you pick a new core desired feeling. Ultimately, whatever's happening in your life is welcomed. That's the ultimate goal for me. Is whatever's going on is welcomed. So when if we're poor at the moment, then there's no shame attached to that. It's just the reality. If we're wealthy at the moment, there's no glory attached to that. There's no crowing attached to that. There's just acceptance of reality as it is for that day, that particular day, for that particular moment in time. It just is. It's the shame and the stories and the fear. A lot of wealthy people are very fearful, and I have witnessed this directly because I used to live with a trust fund baby, and she was very fearful. What if it all went away? What would she do? I was like, well, you can give it to me, and then you can experience what it's like to not have it if you want. We could do that. I can help you if you want to get over that fear. It's cold out here. I got an idea. Let's try it. But people who fight and scrap and never, a lot of wealthy people don't feel like they ever have enough. Right, you want to trade? I'll take your trust fund. You take my paycheck. And let's see what happens. Then you'll know and I'll know. So, in a conversation this morning, it, was brought up to recognize that there's always enough for the need. And that's true. I mean, at least I've got that. There's always just enough. Oh, that's cool. I'd love to see that if you have the link. I can Google it too. Don't worry about it. There's always just enough, but we're always in survival mode. Both of us, my husband and I, have these same issues. Of course. But we want to move out of that into more than enough. So the overflowing part. So there's both. We're grateful that we have just enough as we reach for more than enough. And the education process of that. So this is all a process. It's not like you go A, B, C, D, E, F, I'm wealthy, and I'm fine with it. It's not like that. It's way more down and dirty. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. My own personal process in the hopes that it will serve you. Damn it. Why can't it be like baking a cake? You put in the gluten-free flour. You put in the sugar. Put in the vanilla and the eggs and the baking soda, and you stir it up, and you throw it in the oven. Bada bing, bada boom, you got a cake. I wish it was that easy. I really do. It is a recipe, but in this instant, here's what your cake baking looks like. You put in the flour, you put in the eggs, you drop the bowl on the floor, you start to scrape it up, and then you're like, no, don't, that's terrible. You get a new bowl, you cry, you put in more eggs and flour, and you add vanilla, and you get your stuff, you try to pour it in the pan, the cat knocks the pan off, then it goes back in the floor, and you cry some more, and then you start all over. You put it in the oven, you get it baked, you taste it. Exactly, Michelle, that's exactly where I was going. You taste it and you're like, shit, I forgot the sugar. Or you pull it out and it's like this big and you're like, oh, I forgot the baking powder. Or the oven won't work, or it breaks halfway through and your cake just, that's how this is. Someday, eventually, you make a cake that has everything in it. But the process of it can take some time and a lot of stuff hitting the floor. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up for you one more time. You taste it and you're like, oh, it tastes like shit. So you guys know this. It's just a quick visual of how desire mapping works. This is exactly what happens in a desire map workshop, which takes 5 weeks and then the rest of your life. But this is what we do. My process is to coach you through this area where things get hard and you want to give up. We start out, we pick these, we talk about these, then all this stuff starts happening, and I do my best to coach you through it and get you to the expression part so that at the end of the 5 weeks, you are closer to this. Thank you. CaddyshackDesigns.com. If you want information about my Desire Map workshops, also you can go to tinyurl.com/wolf events, WOLFF, and that has all my upcoming Desire Map workshops. There won't be another level 1 until May 31st, but you can check that out for yourself. I'm putting together one for boys. It's not together yet, but it will be. So if you have teenage boys, 13 to 16, send me a message, let me know. I'm designing one for them at the moment. And if you want information on oils, that's at CaddyshackDesigns.com too. There's a tab that says YL Essential Oils. There you go. Whew. Take a deep breath. Let's have a drink of tea, not tequila. That's it. That's all I got. Start here. Every day. Try this. Start here. Attend to the divine. It's good stuff, but it sucks. No, I haven't had coffee since I got sick. 2 or 3 weeks ago. I haven't had a drop of it. No coffee. It's a good kind of yuck. It hurts so good. We can have ourselves some John Cougar Mellencamp songs in our head now. Okay. I'm gonna go. My legs are frozen. I should have maybe put some pants on. I have shorts on. I'm not sitting out here in my underwear. Although I have. But I'm just wearing shorts and my legs are cold. So goodbye. Have a great day. If you have questions, let me know. Go get physical. Oh, now we've gone from John Cougar Mellencamp to Olivia Newton-John. It's just getting worse and worse. Love you guys. Don't drink in the mornings. You're welcome. I love you very much. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. Have a wonderful day. Right, 3 names. See ya.